It does not suit me to continue this feud any longer. It was ages ago. Are you prepared to call it a day? If the recipient is willing, the answer will be couched in similar denial mode. Yes, let's meet. What have you been up to since you left Lazard's? Nothing more than this will be required to signify that the nastiness is finished, and normal relations may now be resumed. But in this case, Damian eschewed the common practice. Indeed, his honesty was positively Latin. I dare say, after everything that happened, you did not expect to hear from me again, but I would take it as a great favour if you would pay me a visit. He wrote in his spiky and still rather angry hand. I can't think why you should, after the last time we were together, but at the risk of self-dramatizing, I have not long to live, and it may mean something to do a favour for a dying man. At least I could not accuse him of evasion. For a while I pretended to myself that I was thinking it over, trying to decide, but of course I knew at once that I would go, that my curiosity must be assuaged, that I would deliberately revisit the lost land of my youth. For, having had no contact with Damian since the summer of 1970, his return to my conscious mind inevitably brought sharp reminders of how much my world, like everyone else's world for that matter, has changed. There's danger in it, obviously, but I no longer fight the sad realization that the setting for my growing years seems sweeter to me than the one I now inhabit. Today's young, in righteous, understandable defense of their own time, generally reject our reminiscences about a golden age when the customer was always right, when AA men saluted the badge on your car and policemen touched their helmet in greeting. Thank heaven for the end of deference, they say. But deference is part of an ordered, certain world, and in retrospect at least, that can feel warming and even kind. I suppose what I miss above all things is the kindness of the England of half a century ago. But then again, is it the kindness I regret, or my own youth? I don't understand who this Damian Baxter is exactly. Why is he so significant? Said Bridget, as later that evening we sat at home, eating some rather overpriced and undercooked fish, purchased from my compliant local Italian on the old Brompton Road. I've never heard you talk about him. At the time when Damian sent his letter, not all that long ago in fact, I was still living in a large ground-floor flat in Wetherby Gardens, which was comfortable, convenient for this and that, and wonderfully placed for the takeaway culture that has overwhelmed us in the last few years. It was quite a smart address in its way, and I certainly could never have afforded to buy it, but it had been relinquished to me by my parents years before, when they had finally abandoned London. My father tried to object, but my mother had rashly insisted that I needed somewhere to start, and he'd surrendered. So I profited from their generosity and fully expected not only to start, but also to finish there. In truth, I hadn't changed it much since my mother's day, and it was still filled with her things. We were sitting at our small round breakfast table in the window as we spoke, and I suppose the whole apartment could have seemed quite feminine with its charming pieces of Regency furniture and a boy ancestor in curls over the chimney-piece, were my masculinity not reasserted by my obvious and total lack of interest in its arrangements. At the time of the letter incident, Bridget Fitzgerald was my current, I was going to say girlfriend, but I am not sure one has girlfriends when one is over 50. On the other hand, if one is too old for a girlfriend, one is too young for a companion. So what is the correct description? Modern parlance has stolen so many words and put them to misuse that frequently when one looks for a suitable term, the cupboard is bare. Partner, as everyone not in the media knows, is both tired and fraught with danger. I recently introduced a fellow director in a small company I own as my partner, and it was some time before I understood the looks I was getting from various people there who thought they knew me. But other half sounds like a line from a situation comedy about a golf club secretary, and we haven't quite got to the point of "this is my mistress," although I dare say it's not far off. Anyway, Bridget and I were going about together.